And personally, what I have to tell you, what I love about the movie is not only the fact that it feels like a traditional slasher, that I loved growing up with in the 90s, but it also feels like a movie that is going to be especially important for young generations, teenagers. It has a lot of important topics that I would like to discuss with you. And one of them, of course, is it's a really nice symbol that the killer is wearing a physical mask, but every single character is pretty much wearing an invisible mask as well, in a way. And I
Yeah.
was wondering, for you, how did you make sure in your life you're kind of stripping away these invisible masks in order to make sure that, family and friends are allowed to see the real version of you?
I don't know. I don't think it's been like very much a part of my reflection in my life. I've never been someone who is this, particularly like outgoing. Like my person, I'm pretty silent. I don't talk that much in life, and
Oh, right.
um,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I never really thought about that. But what's interesting in the film, yeah, is that relationship between the killer and his desire to reveal people's secrets and everybody who just are hiding themselves. And especially when you're a teenager, I think you have so much that you're discovering about yourself and that you're embarrassed and that you're ashamed of, that you're just like learning to deal with.
Mhm.
Um, you know, and it's just it makes, and the film, the script made me think of me when I was like 16 or something, and everything was new and you're sort of discovering yourself and you don't know, you kind of don't know who else around you is feeling these things or has that, these thoughts or reflections, and you feel very isolated as a teenager and very alone with that, all those new elements coming into your life. um, so I thought that was really interesting. When you're that age, you do have a mask, and especially like you're also, it's the new social side of life, and becoming, you want to be a part of the group, you want to be a part of the world, and you're kind of acting your way through it, and you're discovering who you are, what your pet personality is through all of that, and trying things out, and then slowly finding what feels right to you and who you are. So I enjoyed that about the film.
Exactly, absolutely. And speaking of that, because especially Makani, of course, in the film, she doesn't want people to like the real version of her. She wants people to like the version she came up with, because that's because she doesn't believe that they will like her past and everything that comes with it. And I was wondering, because of course, as you also mentioned, you kind of act your way through it when you're a teenager, and you try to be friends with the cool guys and stuff. I was wondering, when or did you ever had to actually um, stop yourself from changing yourself too much for others that might be that would only accept you in their group if you bury who you really are?
Yeah, that's interesting. I think that happened to me when I was like 12 or 13, and I changed schools. In Quebec, like you go from 12, you go to primary school to secondary school.
Yeah.
And when I got to secondary school, and it was a whole new school and all new people, and I wasn't, I had friends when I was in primary school, but I was always like the element that would be pushed away, or I felt like I wasn't bullied, but I was always like the kind of I wasn't really part of it. I was socially awkward. I didn't really feel comfortable, and getting into secondary school, I didn't want to be that anymore. And so there was kind of a like, okay, I need to kind of let that part of me go, and I need to change quickly because I don't want to be the element that get pushed away. I want to be like secure and have my friends, and I don't want to feel that um, anxiety all the time. And so I think that at that moment, in that new school, and I think probably a lot of kids feel that way, and it happens to them. Um, I had that moment of I need to change, and I kind of like adapted myself, and kind of tried to see the humor of the people around me, and I think at that moment I did kind of, it was the moment of like becoming a teenager, when you start working on yourself and becoming self-aware a little bit. And it's sad because you lose that thing that's so beautiful about being a child, that you're not, you don't really
Right.
know, you don't really care about all of that. And so I think it's a normal process. But also secondary school for me was the moment when I started doing theater, because I went into that school that we all did theater there. And so that at the same time, I was kind of like becoming self-aware and trying to adapt myself to please others. And at the same time, I was getting so liberated in my theater classes, and kind of feeling like I was like I was having so much fun, and I loved my teacher and I loved my group. And so it was a strange mix of like becoming very self-aware and at the same time becoming very liberated and feeling comfortable in my own skin. And so, it was a moment of turbulence like that. But yeah, I think it happens to a lot of kids probably.
Absolutely, yes, for sure, definitely. But what about, because as an actor, of course, you always pretend to be someone you're not. That's of course your job. But not only in movies, but also whenever you have a photo shoot and you get back in character, you pretend to be someone else and stuff. I was wondering how tricky or challenging is it in Hollywood to truly stay yourself when there are so many voices around you, in Hollywood that are trying to tell you how you should come across in public.
But I'm not, there's a whole thing. uh, People keep talking about staying yourself and being yourself. I'm not that interested in being myself and staying myself. Like, we always change, we always evolve. We're always in contact with different elements, with different people, and we change with all of that. And it's a good thing. You don't want to, like, you don't want to protect yourself and who you are that much. I'm not interested at all in who I am right now. I like to change. I like to meet new people and be, moved by them, and have a desire to reach higher and learn from them.
Yeah,
So staying yourself at all costs. I understand the idea of not putting on a mask, and not corrupting your, is that a word in English? Corruption? Yeah, corrupting yourself too much. But it's, changing is a good thing, and you evolving is a good thing. And so maybe that picking who you allow to influence you is a different thing than just being influenced by everyone and everything. But it's a good thing. I like that part of life, of
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
changing.
No, I totally agree with you. And it's also interesting because in the movie, also McConaughey writes down like all your lifelong you will change, which of course is absolutely
Yeah.
true. But what would you say? What is something about you, about your character, you actually want to protect from getting changed?
I want to stay. It's a bit. It's a bit cliche, but I'd like to stay curious, and I want to stay
Right.
passionate about what I do. Um, I've had moments when I was like, oh, getting bored a little bit, or comfortable, or feeling like it was just a repetition of things.
Hmm.
And I feel like sometimes you just have to pull yourself out of that state, because it's I I I, I hate that. And what I love about acting, and what I love is to be uh destabilized, and I want to feel I want to feel like alive, and I want to feel passionate and scared by things, by what I do, and and im- and also impressed by the people around me. I love to work with people who I feel that are like a lot better than me, and more intelligent and profound and interesting, and I want to stay curious about them and about the world and about the work, and because that's what I enjoy about it. But yeah, so that would be the thing that I think you have to constantly renew and make sure that you're not losing and not becoming comfortable or bored, or in a sort of pattern, and things have to stay fresh and new and alive. So
Absolutely. No, that is so true because a lot of people, as you say, once they become adults, they lose their curiosity and their passion for stuff. But the thing is, a lot of people, they don't find back to that curiosity. So it's great when you say that you were able to get it back in a way again to enjoy everything around you.
but I think the work is, you know, maybe if I worked as an accountant, it wouldn't be so easy. But you
Mhm.
know, being an actor and you're always in movement, and you know, you're always changing cities and working with different people and on different projects, and that helps, of course. So I mean, it's that's also a great part of what we're doing, is that you get to be in an environment that changes, and you're not always, you know, in the same spot and doing the same thing, which is fine for some people, but for me, it's, you know, not really what I want.
Right. And there's in the film, I felt very bad for Zach, you know, when his father said, those people are not your friends. They are just what's left when no one else wants to know you. And I was thinking about that, you know, I was thinking about that because I was like, usually the people that are left, as his father says, are usually the ones that have decided to don't fake themselves, and they have decided to just be who they are without caring if other people like them or not, and
Yeah, that's
kind
true.
of and
Yeah.
kind of so they become
High
friends
school.
with people that share the same opinions like them, so that also decided to don't force themselves to fit in a way. Would you agree with that on a certain level?
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I'm thinking about back in high school, and I think it's kind of true. Um, I don't really have that kind of experience of the big school, like in there's someone inside your house. I was in a very, very small school, 300
Mhm.
students, and we all did theater. So there wasn't
Right.
that much of like a separation between people. But eh, yeah, I can understand that. I think I think you're probably right. Yeah, yeah.
And what about, because your character's brother says to Makani that um, it's a lot of pressure to be perfect. Um, and I was wondering if you ever, because again, when you're a teenager, of course, you try to be perfect and you don't want people to see the bad sides of you that actually everyone has. Um, but do you remember, like, when it comes down to your career, you know, like the moment you actually had to tell yourself, I have to stop to try to be perfect and just so that you can, you know, get rid of that pressure?
Yeah, I don't think that perfection is a such a good idea, a good thing to pursue.
Mhm.
Um,
Right.
but I mean, of course, it happens without you wanting it to. But I'm not really looking for perfection in my in the work. I think I, I'm looking for precision, and you know, you want to do good things, and you want to be good, and I think that that's a it's a good thing to pursue. I think
Yeah.
it's right to want to do things well and to work on things, and you don't always succeed, and sometimes but it's you have to, and you have to. I think I need to be scared to fail a little bit, so that I so I have like kind of a fire under my ass and want to like need to work because of a constant anxiety of failure and of destroying the whole project and taking down everybody with me because I'm so bad. But I think that's that's not such a bad thing, and I realize that it kind of happens to me on everything that I do. I'm always terrified of ruining the whole thing, and and you know, that makes you that makes you work harder. So
Right. But what about because what a dialogue that was also very thoughtful in the film was when, you know, your character Ali and Makani are having a conversation, and he shares the theory that he has of her, you know, that she only needed someone around her that is probably more fucked up than she is, and that, you know, in order to make her
oh
feel
yeah,
normal, and that getting seen with him will probably hurt her image in a way. um
yeah,
I was wondering because, you know, I remember it's on a smaller scale, but I remember, you know, people don't telling you what music they really like because they are afraid of the reactions. You know, they say, what, you're listening to that stuff, or the movies you kind of like, you know, they go like, what, you watch movies like that? And so they kind of are afraid to really stand behind their decisions and behind everything that they like. And so
mhm,
Makani is struggling with standing behind the decision that she actually really likes him. And, you know, I felt very bad for your character when you know, her friends were actually mean to him, and she was just there and looking but not really protecting him.
yeah.
So I was wondering, um how challenging has it been for you to really stand behind your decisions and behind everything that you like, no matter if it might risk your great image?
That's a good question. I don't know if I, not sure about if I have a great image, but I understand the. Uh, I think it's a whole. I think it's a whole process of. I think it's something that I'm, on a kind of a deeper level. I think it's something that's changing for me in very recently, maybe through the pandemic, even more. To really um, reconnect with certain things about me and certain um, really be connected to what actually moves me and what I actually respond to um, on different levels, not only in art but in life. It's a whole. It's a whole process. I think it's a very interesting question because for me, I think I'm in it right now of
Mhm.
of a moment of like realization and kind of really wanting to um, kind of unapologetically, sorry, my English is kind of rusted. Um, Dive into that and just be completely honest with myself about all those things. But yeah, it takes time. Well, anyway, for me, it took time. Because I always wanted to fit in, and so it's sorry, I'm not very eloquent because I'm just waking up and
No, no,
but
very
yeah,
good.
so
Yeah, great.
sorry.
No, but what I also liked is, the movie kind of shows you that sometimes you have to say what you really want. I'm thinking of Rodrigo talking to Makani about Alex, and he is, so afraid to tell Alex that he actually likes her. Um, and this also counts for, working people and artists in general. Whenever people are too afraid of saying what they think or saying what they want because they are too afraid of rejection in a way. But I'm thinking of so because this also happened to me. I feel like when you uh kind of shut yourself down a little, for example, you have this goal, you want to be you want to have this job, or you want to get this and this, or this role or whatever. You don't say something, and so if you don't say it, you might pass on a great opportunity just because you're afraid to don't say. For example, with the characters of Rodrigo and Alex, um, if he will never tell her that he likes her, they will probably split after school and never see each other again.
Mhm.
But he kind of makes the decision to tell her in order to hope that she might really feel the same way or whatever. But it's also the same with the job. And I was wondering if you do remember, when it comes down to your career, if you do remember a specific moment where you really had to say what you want in order to move on as an artist.
I don't think it was in relation to the career. I think it was more on working on working with a director and um, yeah, learning to really voice your instincts and what you think is right for the character that you're working on and the film, and allowing yourself to be a part of the entire creative process and be a part of that thing and being uh, listening to your instinct. I think that that's a big part of what we do. And when we have that space with the director and we we're allowed to being a
Mhm.
part of the process, um, then it's important to listen to that instinct and voice it. Um, and that's something I really learned with Sophie Dupuis, who's a French Canadian director I've worked with. I'm doing we're doing our third film together, and being in such a relationship with the director over time really allows you to kind of, listen to that and allowing yourself to go into these, parts of yourself. So yeah.
No, but that's a great example, because I've been talking to actors that said that they will never dare to tell a director his vision, because they are like, he's the director and the storyteller, and I'm just the actor, and I just
Yeah, I'm super annoying. I will always, I feel like I'm always going to say it, because if something doesn't feel right, then there's a reason, there's probably a reason for it, and you have to voice it. So if you're in a scene and then you're placing it and then it doesn't, there's something, and sometimes I don't know what it is, but it feels wrong, or it feels like something is not happening, or there's a shift that's not happening, or you're not present, then sometimes there's just a small thing that you have to identify and work on, and you have to listen to that and you have to voice it. And that's something that's been like really important for me to learn about myself, is that, when it's not happening, there's always something that you can fix, and it can work. You can always make it work, but don't, yeah. But it's important. We should always like be a little bit annoying and tell,
right.
talk.
Absolutely. I feel like it goes back to the topic of the film, where they try that, where the characters try that people like them, because some actors probably think, no, if I'm the annoying one, they will probably not hire me again, so it's better to don't say anything.
Yeah, yeah. Also, but you don't want to do it too much, you
Right. No, that would do. Yes, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though I don't know if Quentin Tarantino would allow that, for that freedom. I don't know, but
Yeah, and I
you
don't,
just have to try, right?
yeah, well, yeah.
So Theo, that's it from my side. Seriously, I want to thank you so much for your time
Thank
today.
you.
Pleasure having you, and very glad the movie is doing so well on Netflix. And I
Yeah,
cannot wait to see more. Hopefully, another film, another sequel or prequel, anything. We never know,
yeah,
depending on if you make it or not. I mean, I've seen it, but we don't want people to know before they have seen
yeah.
it themselves. So, but yeah. Definitely fingers crossed for everything that might come.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you. I enjoyed that.